YouTubers, welcome to
Big Buddha sees all.
I'm Big Buddha.
That's you watch the first few of these, you'll notice that it was Big Buddha sees all
I think you'll see.
for the first few.
Uploaded the first video. This is the initial review.
I actually had to go and Google it to make sure. I genuinely thought the phrase was Big Buddha sees all. Sorry, Big Brother sees all, but it's not. It's Big Brother is watching. So
Initial video.
that's what the channel became. But it took a while to get Big Buddha sees all the phrase out of my head. So I accidentally I accidentally say
Just
Big Buddha sees all in the first few.
get the content going. Get better at making videos.
Get better at making videos.
You can worry about
So the reason I'm doing a commentary on this is my first ever review. This is actually the second video I ever uploaded. The first one wasn't a review. The first one I really just shot as an experiment, and it's me rambling into the camera,
speak up.
really seeing if I could just talk for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, on a single subject. Finding out, no, I couldn't really. My problems with these early videos are really the problems I still have now. It's down to my general presenting style. There, you'll see it there. That's the main problem. It's eliminating the ums and the you knows from the reviews.
I'm really going to have to invest in some sort of microphone.
First on the list. Now, I still haven't got a microphone. I'm still shooting these in the same way. This is even this one I'm doing now is straight into the iPhone. It seems to serve pretty well. You can
Anyway,
2 minutes in, yep.
And I haven't mentioned my first review.
So I spent 2 minutes explaining, what I was doing, my intentions with this video and the channel as a whole. And the reason I did that rather than going straight into the review is my intention with this channel is really because I came into this cold. Literally, when I did these first few videos, all I had was an iPhone and an internet connection. No knowledge, no editing software, no knowledge really of how you do a YouTube channel, a vlog, if you like. So it's all been a learning curve for me, and I thought, well, an interesting way for doing a YouTube channel cold would be to maybe just show the learning curve, if you like. So that's why in the first few videos I sort of explain the differences I've made, the decisions I've made when it comes to how I'm presenting these videos. That's why if you watch the first one I shot, the introduction, in which I say I don't even know, because literally when I shot that I didn't even know how you uploaded a video to YouTube. I was really coming in that blind. But Roseanne, why did I mention Roseanne there? God knows. And in that one, you can see I'm sitting a lot further back from the camera. My intention was to emulate my hero. Ooh, that was a big pause. Barry Norman, who I would later go on. He sadly died last year, and I went and did a 20-minute tribute to him. But he always sat sort of back from the camera towards the left with the logo in the background, and I thought maybe if I did a kind of film-based series of videos show, if you like, I'd emulate that style. So I thought I'd sit back from the camera. But from this one onwards, you'll see I'm sitting a lot closer to the camera, so it's just my head and shoulders in shot. Part of the reason for doing that was for audio reasons, really. I still don't have a clip-on mic or a boom mic or anything like that. It just registers the audio a lot better when you sit a lot closer to the camera. Also, that's... You see, that's my old living room, you know. Anyone who's watched my recent videos over the last few weeks, you know, I've moved since then. I'm now out of this location is gone from my life. But see, I chose that place to shoot them from because I think it was the most interesting corner of the house to shoot a sort of pop culture based show from, because there you have a sort of you can sort of see a sort of a pie slice view of my interest, you know, there in the background. There's Laurel, I think I explained this in the introduction, you know, you can see my Laurel and Hardy box set and my Laurel and Hardy figurines and my Tintin placards in the background. Of course, I tried to emulate now with the new location, the new living room. The name still escapes me. It's not Ed McMahon, is it? It's not Dick Clark. It's one of those. Ed Sullivan. That's it, isn't it?
Put it in the
comment section below. No one's. I could. A year on, I could count on both hands how many comments I've got. Most have been from my dad, embarrassingly. There was an chiding me for getting drunk on camera. My with Nell and I drinking game video. So I don't know if I've explained yet. So the reason I'm doing a commentary on this one and uploading it today, this is the 29th of April, this is the 1 year anniversary of the channel. So I just thought it'd be interesting to go back and look at the initial video, the initial review. I was so green making these things when I had to upload this in 2 parts because I didn't even know how long I could shoot for on my iPhone. It turned out to be 33 minutes, so something like 33 minutes 10 seconds and 29 frames or something like that. So I had to upload, and I talked for 38 minutes, so I had to upload it in 2 parts. You'll see a lot of my early reviews, if I go over 33 minutes, I had to upload them in 2 parts, sort of old school YouTube style, part 1 and part 2. Later on, I tried to keep it down to under 33 minutes. Now I can just cut and slice things together, and I can go on for as long as I can. My brother, he couldn't believe I did 55 minutes on The Last Jedi. It was a release because I just started editing at that phase, and I thought, right, well, I can now make these as long as I wanted, for good or ill. But I've had to re-download these from YouTube. I didn't have the original footage, so this is actually a burn from YouTube that I've put into Premiere, and I've actually cut the 2 reviews together so I can upload this as one 38-minute video.
Anyway, so many great is this one here?
I've tried a few ways of. It's still a major problem, the ums and the you knows. I've found when you take all the ums and the you knows out, you can actually cut about 5 minutes out of these videos. I tried everything to eliminate it, because literally when I'm going, I can't even hear myself doing it. I think I'm doing it fine, but I mean, when I listen to this back, it will be full of ums and you knows that I don't even realise that I'm doing. And I tried the so one of the early ways I tried to eliminate them was the hardest part of doing it. I think a YouTube channel, I think, is pressing record. It's the hardest part, and it's the actual recording. You know, all the other stuff, the editing and the doing the thumbnails and uploading. That's all. That's the fun stuff. That's where you get to cut away everything you're embarrassed with. But so I'm genuinely quite nervous when I start recording these things. And I tried a few things to. I thought that's maybe what was causing the ums and the you knows. So I tried actually before recording some of these to meditate. I'd actually do a bit of transcendental meditation. I really bought into the the image of the Buddha, the big Buddha. I thought this would be a sort of cross between movie criticism or criticism in general and Buddhism, but really I've come to realise that that's really just a hokey little hook, a hokey little stage name, if you like, a pseudonym. You'll notice as well I've never revealed my real name to this date. I like that was something else. I've tried to sort of separate my real life and my online life as much as possible. I haven't told it. People kind of find out by accident that I'm doing this YouTube channel. That is a funny scene in the film. Yeah, I try and keep my online life of my. So and I like that enigmatic quality. Columbo you never found out what Columbo's first name was. There's a theory it was Frank, but he never revealed it. Unlike Inspector Morse, he found out what his first name was, and it instantly dilapidated any mystery about the character. So maybe I've often thought I don't know if I'll do YouTube forever. I might stop doing it one day. I'd far rather people be saying to me, "Why don't you do YouTube videos anymore?" rather than people one day start saying, "My God, are you still doing those stupid little videos?" So I might stop doing this one day, and if I do, I'll go on and do something else, whatever that will be, producing other people's videos or whatever. But I've often thought if I ever do a final video, it will definitely be a re-review, a re-look at this film. I intend this because the King of Comedy holds a special place in my heart now because it was my initial review. I think that might be the only film I ever look at twice. And maybe I'll sign off and say what my real name is. Or people who know what it is could just blow my cover and put it in the comments section below. Like I say, nobody ever does. So the King of Comedy was a film I was watching a lot at the time when I finally decided to start this channel. So it seemed like a good one to go with, and of course, it's still a film I really like. I did my top 10 movies recently, and it made it in there as number 4. And I've tried to do. I probably will do single reviews for every other film on that list so far. I've just done the Back to the Future trilogy. I haven't done Clockwork Orange or A Lucky Man. I have done The Princess Bride and With Nell and I. And a couple of videos on With Nell and I. Haven't done Sleuth. Done Blade Runner. I haven't done The Big Lebowski,
I mean,
and I have
sort
done
of
The Last Waltz.
Marmite
So I've done about half the list now.
is, I can't remember the character's name. I'll just call her Sandra. She's very Marmite, a Marmite
Can't
sort
remember
of
the
character.
character's name.
She,
I do try and
she's
research
very brash and
the films quite
abrasive,
extensively before I watch
and
them.
over the top in many scenes. And I
It's
think
just a good way of falling back. If you ever start to stumble at any
but I
point,
find her hilarious.
then it's a good way to,
It's strange that
if you're sort of free forming like a
sort of
kind of
assistant
now and in this one, if you've done
same
the
actors,
research, if
male
you've,
actors over and over
I mean,
again.
the research is me just devouring the Wikipedia page. So I'm really just sort of
Sybil Shepherd,
rechurning what Wikipedia says about the films. Or
the
the big two I usually go for is Wikipedia and the special features on the DVD. So the more special features on the DVD, the richer the reviews get, because you can churn back that information when you sort of lag with your own thoughts, your own criticisms of the film. The the other way I later started to try and eliminate some of the fluffs and the gas, because these first few reviews really are free form. I just press play and I talked for half an hour and I just saw what came out. And the first lot, I was always disappointed because there was always things that I would forget to include in the review. I mean, I can't. You'll notice in this one, I go through the whole thing and I don't mention at any point Jerry Lewis. And I can't believe I reviewed the whole of the King of the Comedy for the King of the Comedy for nearly 40 minutes and didn't mention Jerry Lewis at all. Well, I mentioned him there, but I didn't mention his performance. I mentioned De Niro, I mentioned Sandra Bernhard. And yeah, I mean, Jerry Lewis was, I'd say his performance in The King of Comedy was really the first comic doing a serious turn on film, I'd say. Maybe there were precedents before it, but certainly before, Jerry Lewis working with Martin Scorsese, it seemed like such a bizarre fit at the time. Yet it totally works, because I mean, he is that character and he trades on his real life persona. But I mean, prior to The King of Comedy, comedy stars did comedy films, and serious actors did serious films, and worked with the best directors, and there was never any crossover. And Jerry Lewis was really the first to break down that barrier, and made it possible for. Well, I mean, if you look at the career of Jim Carrey or Tom Hanks, for example, they wouldn't have never had the latter half of their careers where they did more serious work if it wasn't, I think, for the pioneering work that Jerry Lewis did in The King of Comedy. So, but yeah, I mean, that's I forgot to mention that in the review, and in the next few videos, I forget to mention a few things. When I'd stopped recording, so that's when I started doing notes, and you'll see in later videos that my little black notebook popping up, which I've nearly filled now.
Very indicative of the whole film in many
ways. Just as an aide de memoire, so I could cover every base.
Because it's so cringy and awful. I think this film is really responsible for inventing that sort of cringe-making humour that.
See, I could cut all these.
Influential on a lot of.
Obviously, like now, I would cut all these little fluffs out.
Things like the Larry Sanders Show, and the later things like I'm Alan Partridge, and of course The Office and extras, you know, the
Because that's taken me 30 seconds to get
they
that
would have
little point out there
got those
about
people to
this
listen.
film being influential on The Office, and it took me 30 seconds, but I could cut that down to 10 now.
I guess.
Because if there's one thing I would say,
Film did very well at the box
I've
office.
always been happy with what I've said. It's just how I've said it.
Not knowing how to take it.
That's my big bugbear with these. So
Fit into
maybe for the 2-year anniversary, I'll do a re-edit on this and do it. You know, put in a little title sequence and clips and just show everything I've learnt so far. Yeah, see, look, that's pretty poor.
what else?
I mean, I know what you're thinking. You know, a single take review, a 40-minute static shot. How can you really comment on this for 40 minutes? But I'm starting to agree with you, folks.
He's just waiting there in the reception, even though the receptionist has essentially told him to go away. You know, Jerry's not going to see him today. He says, "Oh, that's okay, I'll wait." And there's this pit.
So I'm kind of getting into it now. It's 20 minutes in, and that scene still makes me laugh. He is that Cork scene.
You know, Cork's very good for sound. Oh yeah, and Mr. Langford will see you now. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of improv, and it's an awkward bit of improv, and that doesn't really work, but it kind of does work in the fact that it doesn't work because it's such an awkward character, and it's supposed to be an awkward film. So they leave in the bad improv. In the other Scorsese, De Niro movies, they leave in the improv that works, but in this they leave in the improv that doesn't work. Just De Niro being very boring.
He goes into so the receptionist sends him away.
So I'm just describing my favourite scenes in the film.
He basically breaks into the office, and then you get this little chase.
And
the security guards are trying to get into.
You see, I'd say
there's this one shot.
I wouldn't really call myself a critic. I don't think I think a film critic, what they do is they review all the latest films and they recommend what they liked and what they didn't like, and it's there for... It's there as a kind of public warning, you know, see this but don't bother with this, I guess. And I don't think I really do that. This one is kind of one of my more successful reviews in that, because I think my best videos to date have been the films I've liked, the films I've been enthusiastic about. You know, my Silence of the Lambs reviews were quite successful because I really like those films and the books. It's the same with my Red Dwarf ones. I'm a lover, not a hater. I never wanted to do the type of reviews that the Americans thrive on, it seems, where they just look at bad movies and laugh at how bad they are. And you know, I love watching that kind of thing. I find it really entertaining. But like I say, I'm a lover. I'm not a hater. I'm more from the Kevin Smith school. I want to love everything. I want everything to be as successful. It's why I trawl movie news sites. I want to hear about what's being made, what's coming out in the next couple of years, because I think until a film does land and it's finished and the public see it and they make up their minds, I think everything has the potential to be the next Citizen Kane. Everything has the potential to be the greatest movie ever. It's only until it's actually birthed that you realise that and you get to see its faults.
It
That
smacks of a lot of improvisation.
so what I'm saying is,
Stuff about
I genuinely
improvisation.
love movies, and there's nothing I
Rather
love more
cohesive,
than discovering a great movie. And if I discover a great movie, I want to share it with everyone. And I think those have been my really successful videos. It is the ones where I've gone, look, I love this, and I want to tell you why I love it, and I want I want everyone to watch this film and obviously make up their own minds about whether they liked it, and see if they liked it as much as me, because I loved it so much. So that's I think you can see here I'm getting into it now. I'm becoming, and then this has really been the case for every video that I've done so far. I think the first the first third has always been the weakest. That's it's. A few people have said to me, I've watched a few of yours, but I only got 10 minutes in, and I always say it takes me 10 minutes to get going. You've really got to watch the whole thing, because they're like video essays, I think, more than critiques. I've usually got a point to make, and if it takes me, if the video's 40 minutes long, it's not just waffle. It's because it took me 40 minutes to feel like I've got my point across. So, but I know everyone doesn't watch them to the end. I mean, the very fact that this was uploaded in 2 parts, I think the part one's had 15 views and part 2 had 3. So obviously, most people gave up before the end. Sure. But I still feel like I'm learning. I still feel like I still don't feel like I'm producing what I want to produce, and I think it's going to take me another year or so before, or maybe another couple of years before I'm there. And I've even thought about maybe, once I feel like I'm there, maybe starting a new channel and it not being Big Buddha anymore. But who knows? I know Graham Linehan, the comedy writer responsible for. Oh, just this is just reminding me of my favourite scenes in the film. The Graham Linehan, the comedy writer, he tells a story about how people have recommended funny sketches that have been posted online, and he'll have watched one and thought, "Oh, that's good, that's funny," and then he'll have gone and watched. Off the back of that, he'll have gone and sourced out other things that the same people have done, and the other 9 videos that they'll have posted up won't be as good. And he says he doesn't understand why people do this. He only put your good stuff online, he says, because the chances of you being seen and discovered then are going to be far greater if people only see the good stuff. If you put up all your crap, it dilutes your output. And obviously I've gone entirely against this. I put up everything I've done, warts and all, and because I think my reason for doing so is I'm masquerading under the fact that this is some interesting not sociological experiment, some interesting experiments just to show a learning curve unfold in front of people's eyes. But there you go. That's my reason why I'm thinking maybe at some point in the future I'll put Big Buddha to bed and do the same thing but under a different guise. Maybe, who knows? Maybe then I'll reveal what my real name is.
American chat shows, those audiences laugh at any old rubbish. Of course they'd laugh at really naff, lame jokes at that. And I don't.
What am I talking about here?
I'm going to try and avoid doing spoilers as much as possible.
Oh, I always said that, and then I. It whenever I'm not. Whenever I say I don't want to do something, I always then go ahead and do it. Like quite often, I'll say
Subject matter.
I don't need to go through the plot, and then I'll spend the next 10 minutes going through the plot. So
However,
it's kind of like Spock in Star Trek Into Darkness, you know, where he says, I obviously I can't reveal anything about your future, and then spends the next 5 minutes revealing everything he knows about their future, about Khan. So yeah, this video is just like Star Trek.
On the medium of television
But I've missed. I think there was an appearance by Murray in this at some point, or maybe you just heard him meow. My co-host.
In many ways, considering it was made in 1981, didn't come out until 83 for some reason. Written in 1974, actually. I think this was a script that De Niro wanted to do for 8 years.
Just going through a little of my background knowledge of the film here.
Scorsese, I think, basically did it as a because they were friends, you know, as a favour to De Niro. Although
it is an interesting film. I think they'd earned the right to do a comedy at this point. They'd done. Oh, there you go. There's Murray. So yeah, losing my track there. Obviously, you know, I'd have the notes to fall back on in the later reviews. But I do still wing it a little here and there.
You know, it sort of predicted celebrity culture in.
Yeah, talking about how the film predicted celebrity culture.
Celebrity culture of, I guess, the noughties.
How everyone will do anything to get famous and.
Would pretty much do anything.
And I think I start talking about how I want a sequel to this film now, because I think Rupert Pupkin making a comeback in some form would be interesting, because obviously the only way he could make a comeback would be to redo the thing that made him famous in the first place, so he'd have to do something equally illegal, whatever that would be. So I think I compare him to O.J. Simpson in this. Yeah, here it goes. This is where I start talking about the sequel. Now you can see, all right, here we go. This is how far I've come in this time. Look this. There you go. Slice the two videos together. And so that's the only bit of editing you're going to get in this video, I'm afraid.
But I'd love to see where he ended up now.
So yeah, you can.
In the real world, if the ending was real,
because the camera is on, or my iPhone is on. I think I've just realised that I've gone into a new video there. You can see it in my eyes. So my camera is on my wardrobe, no, my chest of drawers, and I'm sitting on my low chair, and that's how I did the first 80 or so videos that I put out from this angle, and I miss that angle now. If only because in my recent reviews you can see my full profile from sort of my belly upwards, and I think anybody watching these, I think I look a lot better in these early reviews, because you can't see my belly. I have got a bit of a gut on me, so I do make a little bit of an effort to try not to look disgusting on camera. I think to be honest, if I look better than most,
would have
most
realised that
amateur
the only
YouTube
way
vloggers.
is
You
that
know,
you got
I go
protein
running, so
aggregate is
I
if you
try
needed
and
something
get my
as
5 a day.
drastic,
So
if not more drastic.
I look healthy at
Um,
least on
Second
camera.
time around,
Obviously, this
sort
was
of
late spring when
raise his
I made this
profile
one,
back
so
up to where
I
he
look like
wanted
I've got
to be.
a
And I
little
can
bit of the sun on my
imagine
face. I am
Pupkin,
still a little bit tubby, but
if he was real,
and
he'd be a sort of O.J. Simpson figure.
so yeah, I mean, usually just before I go
Um,
into filming these things,
so yeah,
I sort of look at myself in the
I
mirror
could
and think,
talk forever
okay,
about this film.
time to take 3 or 4
Sure,
years
gonna
off, you
think
know,
of
with my toothbrush and my razor
stuff.
and my moisturiser.
It's a great film. I really do
And
think that.
the
Robbie
t-shirts as
found
well, wear as well,
some of
are a
Well, there's a
consideration.
Scorsese film
You know, I try
reviewed
and
on this
look
channel
marginally
later on.
presentable, but in a kind
Um,
of
yeah, I strongly urge anyone
hipster,
who hasn't seen
scruffy
this film to check
chic
it out.
sort of way.
It's a great
Only
movie.
on the top half, of course.
Um,
Obviously, you can't see the
and
bottom half
it's
of my body. I'd
one of
say
Scorsese's
80,
most
probably no,
underappreciated
probably about
well,
95% of these
not underappreciated
I've
because
made. I'm
who
either
I've
wearing my
seen
lounge
reviews
pants or my
bombs it,
pajama bottoms in all of them.
it's one of his lesser seen works, and I think it's up there with Taxi Driver for me and Goodfellas. You know, I absolutely love it. I rediscovered this film probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I'd seen it as a teenager.
And this is something else I do a little bit, and I'm not
I rewatched
sure
it again
which is.
about 3 years ago, and
I
I
spend a
found
lot of
myself
time
doing
talking
something which I
about my
hardly ever
personal
do, which
association with
is
my film.
need to rewatch
I
it.
think my history with the film.
I never rewatch
I don't know if
anything.
that's important.
But if I
Every time
do, it's
I might
something I
start
haven't
trying
seen
to
in 20
eliminate that more
years.
because certainly
This I found out. I found
when
myself putting it on about
you know,
every
read
3 months or
other
so in the
film
evening.
critics that do
It
that,
always makes me laugh.
I just think I don't care. You know, I don't care
So
what
like I
your day
say,
was like when you
if you
saw
haven't
the
seen it,
film. I
definitely
just
check it
want to
out
know what you
or
thought of
rewatch
it.
it.
So, but you can't help it.
Steve,
You know,
King of
they
Comedy.
say any journalist will
One
tell you that the most
of
important
star
part of any
ratings
story is the fact that
on
they
this
were there
channel. I
to
don't know
report on
if
it.
I'm going to be able
So,
to put
so maybe
the
there's a
title of the
little
movie,
bit of that
title of the
in
video.
it.
But I'd like to do that. But if
So
not,
yeah,
this
sounds
is
like
a
I'm
5
summing
for
up
me.
here. Oh yeah, that was something else I did. I used
Personal
to
choice, but
say the star rating
five
though. I've
stars out of 5.
eliminated doing that
So
because
anyway, that's
I changed my
there we go.
mind
37
later
minutes.
on some of the star ratings.
We're
Well,
on
there
and
you
on.
go. Looks like I'm
Just been
summing
talking about
up.
the
That was
castle
fun
and
to look back on. This is me, Big Buddha,
so yeah.
signing off as well, and I shall see you all out there,
This is me,
as
Big
he
Buddha,
says, in
signing
YouTube
off.
land.
See you folks in